Cast, a show about pop culture and everything random in the world. I am your host, Will, and today I am joined by...
Landon Browning.
David Parker.
And Colby Chapman.
Today is December 20th, 2020, and today is our holiday episode, a very special one. So, 5 days till Christmas. Boys, how you feeling?
Feeling festive.
Sad.
I mean, it's the most wonderful time of the year.
Question mark?
I mean, I like Christmas time. I think it's okay.
Yeah.
But it is not my favorite time of the year.
I mean, it's
by
all
far.
right, you know.
As I've grown older, I've found it to be more stressful than happy. Just because of circumstances surrounding it. Like, I have to buy gifts for everybody.
Yeah, like the stress of
Do you
the
struggle to win
responsibility of
Christmas?
buying gifts.
I don't struggle to win Christmas. I've won it like 3-4 years in a row.
I literally
Do you
don't
have
understand how you
competition,
can
though?
win Christmas. Like,
No, you
first
give
of
the
all,
best gifts. Like, that's what you will.
It's a mixture of giving the best gifts and receiving the best gifts.
Wait, hold on a second. So your win is determined by other people. That doesn't sound
Somewhat,
like a win.
yeah.
That just sounds like
But I mean,
luck.
like if you give the best gifts, that can definitely elevate you. Like if you go 4 for 4 on great gifts, or like you have an exceptional gift towards like multiple family members, like you have like a family gift, you're like, here's this, and they're like, oh wow, that's a great gift. You win Christmas, and it's like, I knew it. I knew I'd win. So
Yeah.
So like, what happens if like you go 4 for 4 for the gifts you give, right? If there's 4 family members and you just bullseye with every single one, and then they just give you the worst presents ever.
Well, then it depends on what other people got, like also with what they gave. So if they gave some trash presents, I think you still win Christmas.
But let's say I got like a sister who like gets like 4 for 4, gets really good gifts, but
And
like
then gives
out
you
a
0 for
2
4?
or a 1 for 4. Like some
I
low
think
number.
giving
that puts them just
gifts
above.
scores more points than receiving. Like you get more points for giving gifts.
So
Is it
should
points
we,
per
like,
gift, PPG, or
I
like
was
how
just
we...
gonna say
PPG
points-
league.
Okay.
Yeah.
Next week, do you guys want to like total up points based on like family feedback, gifts given, gifts received, and see who had the best Christmas out of all 4 of us?
A Christmas league?
Yeah,
Christmas
I'm
league.
down.
I'm down.
Yeah.
No, see, it
Any
would have,
bets?
you could
We
do like
might
a
have
holiday
to do optimal
league.
gifts, though.
Like so you do that way it's year round. So you have Easter, you have Christmas. So instead of having
Your
like
birthday.
your birthday.
Do you include other people's birthdays? Like,
well, everyone that's
you're
in the
still
league.
giving them
Yeah.
gifts, right?
Mhm.
It's gonna be a weak Christmas for me. I don't think I'm gonna get my like 3rd or 4th championship in a row this year.
Okay, I think we need to specify that Landon has 0 championships in a row.
Yes.
we
For
can't-
Christmas? No, I won Christmas.
Oh, I thought you talked about fantasy football.
No.
I got fantasy football in
I've
mind,
never
so-
won. I've never won.
I'm
If you're
trying to
talking
forget
about
about fantasy
fantasy
football.
Yeah. I think
Because that's all luck.
at least I think in every single one of us is in a final or a semifinal this week in each of their respective leagues. Like because we all have one we play together, and then when we play separate from the one we play together. And there's been no shortage.
So how's
of
it going
stress.
for you guys, fellas?
Not good. I'm probably gonna lose.
Because
I'm
I've
in the
had
finals
a
right now.
terrible 3 days. Like it's only gonna get better, hopefully.
My semifinal matchup in my work league is actually pretty close. I'm projected to lose by less than a point right now. So
I am in 2 semifinals leagues. I'm getting blown out of the water in the league that we're all in together. But in my other league, it is also close. So
I feel like fantasy
didn't really
football
care
is
about
very,
that one, though.
very elusive. Like it feels like you're in complete control sometimes, but then it's
and then the moment
completely
kickoff
in-
happens, like the moment
it's
kickoff
just
happens,
over. It's gone. Like there's
Yeah.
nothing you can do, and it's all the entire fate of your competitive soul is resting on some sorry like wide receiver or some sorry like waiver wire pickup that you managed to get for $5 off the waiver wire.
And I at least myself personally, I have at least one time a year where I make a completely irrational decision.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
5 to 10 minutes before kickoff, where I'm like, yeah, I can't trust this player. And I pick someone off the waiver wire. I'm like, the matchup's there. And then you play him and like,
And you're like, why did I
It's
do
like-
that? Like that
it's
was
like if you
such
were-
a
Yeah,
poor decision.
like I had one. I had a.
It's like playing Adrian Peterson over Derrick Henry. That's just
Stop.
a very unspecific
Stop.
example
Please.
that
How many
That's not
years
even
did that happen?
off the top of my head.
That's happened at least once. Actually, I think the dumbest fantasy move I've ever done though was 3 or 4 years ago. Michael Vick was still in the league, and he was the backup quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wait, he was still in the league 4 years ago?
4 or 5. Yeah, it's the
I didn't know
backup
that.
quarterback he was the backup for the Steelers for a season. I think it was his last stop before he retired. And Ben Roethlisberger, the starter, was not going to play Thursday night. And I picked Michael Vick up off the waiver wire and played him. Guy hadn't started a game in the NFL in like a year and a half or more. I'm like, oh, dude, the matchup's there. Michael Vick's going to go off, and I think he scored like 6 points or something.
Famous last words. The matchup is there.
Which for reference, like 6 points is not a good
for a
score
quarterback.
for almost anybody. Like I've been banking on players getting 6 points, and that's because I'm not doing too good. Like, so quarterbacks typically average like 20 something points.
Well, I mean, if you have your
It depends.
quarterbacks, if you have Derek Carr,
He got 2.
he gets negative points.
He's done,
Sometimes.
though. He got hurt. So, bye-bye.
Oh, what is he like out for a while?
Probably
or,
for
He
at least a
didn't. He
couple
didn't
games.
play the rest of the game.
He tore his groin or something.
if there's something I had
Ow.
to tear, I don't think I would choose it to be the groin.
It looked really bad. It looked really
Be
bad.
one of my last stops, like on my like the last things on my list.
like anything else, my neck. I'll tear my neck. Just leave the groin alone.
Dude, could you imagine
Please.
that you have to choose?
Oh no.
Man.
All right. So fantasy generates quite a bit of stress.
Despair.
And leads to Christmas
And
being one of the
depression.
worst times, and depression. One of the worst times. I shouldn't say one of the worst, but a downer because fantasy and Christmas happen at the same time. But something wonderful happen this past Friday, and that's that the Mandalorian season 2 dropped its finale. And
It's 8
Oh, yeah.
episode.
I'm
And
actually
oh
caught up.
boy.
Oh, Will, because you had your whole watch plan, right? You were going to watch
Yeah.
7 episodes in a row or something so that we couldn't talk about it on the show up until then.
Yeah, so I held all my thoughts hostage, and now we're talking
Like a good
on
friend
my
does.
time. Yeah, exactly. So I'm in control, especially with this episode of the podcast. So
Control?
not in David's hands, which makes him freak out. But Mandalorian season 2.
I'm in withdrawals
finale.
right now.
Ironically, I was the first one that watched it, and
I was
I
at work,
really enjoyed
dude. Like,
what are your guys'
But-
thoughts?
Well, I mean, should we talk about the episodes up until it since we didn't talk about those yet? Because we didn't even cover.
yeah.
we should.
Because last week we just talked about episode 5.
7.
Yeah, the last one we talked about was the Grogu episode. We didn't talk.
Grongu? Grongu?
Grongu?
You mean Grongu?
We didn't talk about the it was with the other one with Bill Barr,
Burr.
right?
Bill
Bill
Burr.
Barr, and then what was the one
with
after that?
Boba Fett. No,
Oh
no,
yeah,
Bill Burr
yeah.
was the
We
second
haven't even
to
talked
last
about Boba Fett yet. We got
Yeah,
the
so
we got the
But where?
Boba Fett. I kept
So-
doing that when we were watching the show with Bree. I would just go Boba Fett, and I think she didn't get the reference as well because she thought she was like, yeah, like that's Boba Fett, David. He's in the show, and I was like, aw.
Oh no. Oh no.
So I had to train her some more and some Star Wars references, but
Oh, great.
You've got the action figures out. Now point to Boba Fett.
Oh, wrong one. Wrong.
Get the spray bottle.
this one's Django, this one's Boba.
What did you guys think of Boba Fett? Do you guys like him back in the Star Wars universe?
I do. I think they've
really
done a
enjoy
really
him back.
good job with him. I know that like somewhat of the mystique is gone, but honestly, the mystique was gone when they had Kid Boba Fett.
Oh, kid. Oh,
So I
dude,
think
Kid
they only,
Boba Fett.
I think they really only could go up from there, and bringing back the same guy who did Django, I thought was great. And he did such a good job, and I thought he was a fun character. The mystique is gone, but I think they built upon that in such a good way with how they have kind of this awesome character who you've always known as awesome, who people give a bad time, who say that
Yeah.
Boba Fett's not cool, he's stupid. Boba Fett's awesome, and,
Yeah,
and
Boba
it's
Fett's
been
always been
confirmed.
cool.
It's been
Dude, I
confirmed
love his
by
voice.
Mandalorian.
I love
Oh, his voice is so good.
His
It's
voice
so
is
good.
so
Yeah.
cool.
Well, he's got
It's
that Kiwi
Colby.
accent,
I'm like,
It's a great bounty hunter voice.
Yeah, it's yeah. If I want a bounty hunter in real life, I'm gonna hire Kiwi so that he sounds like Boba
I'd
Fett.
hire Dog the Bounty Hunter first. But,
No, that's wrong choice. You're wrong. I don't think you want to hire Dog the Bounty Hunter for anything. Maybe if I'm like having a backyard barbecue, like just someone to man the grill, but that's it.
Even then, I think you got to pick somebody a little more tame. Like, he's too much of a wild card to man the grill. Like, 1 minute he could be, grilling those brats, and the next minute he's like, tackling children into the pool, you know. So I think you got to just roll with like a dad figure.
A dad figure? I mean,
like
Dog's probably
Mando?
a dad, right? He looks like a dad from 1987. Who like
Yeah, he
is
does.
who lives in Tennessee or something.
But
Anyway,
yeah,
but I
dude, anyway,
digress.
Boba Fett.
Sorry to get derailed.
Completely derail the conversation. Thanks, Dave and Colby.
Kind of zoned out there for a second.
So
like,
there's a couple things that I was very shocked that happened during these last 3 episodes, 6, 7, 8. The first thing that shocked me was, spoilers, the Razor Crest completely blew up in
Yeah.
episode 6.
That was a
Which-
big rip.
Yeah,
yeah,
that was like
really sad.
I was watching with my dad, and he literally audibly was like, "No!" like almost like a
Well,
character
it was
death.
such a
that he
cool
didn't see.
ship, dude. Like,
It's like a ship is more important than like a character, but it's true because that's probably one of the coolest ships I've ever seen on the show, and they have no hesitation with just blowing it straight to bits.
Well, I mean,
Right.
the last few episodes, I think what they've shown with some of this stuff is that the stakes are higher than you think they are. And we get that from things that happen in the episode 8 with the destruction of the Razor Crest, things like that. It's not, I think it's not as tame or safe as maybe you were expecting a Star Wars show to be.
As the sequel trilogy?
Likable character with, I think, a good kind of solid kind of like rationale for what he wanted and why he was doing those things. And then and in that moment, you know, the moment in the episode where he that switch flips and he goes off
he shoots the commanding
well,
officer.
yeah, I mean, you were like, it reminded me, I don't know, this isn't a terrible spoiler, but have any of you guys seen The Godfather? The first Godfather movie?
I actually haven't.
Oh,
No, I
it
haven't.
reminded me of a very iconic scene from The Godfather. I don't know if that was intentional, but I thought it was maybe a good homage. It had to be an actual homage just due to some of the similarities of that and what's going on. But I thought that was a great scene.
Yeah, I love the moment right after that happens, and then they all just kind of look around at each other. It's like, they just start shooting each other. It's great.
Well,
But yeah, that was
It's the second time Mando takes his helmet off too.
but
Yeah.
That's cool.
not the last time.
Oh,
And then we move on to episode 8. So this was the big one. I'm glad Bo-Katan was reintroduced in that episode, and they kind of
Why, Will?
yeah. Why was that?
So let's just move on to what actually happens rather than my personal thoughts on the character.
No.
No.
I wanna
Bo-Katan or
hear-
Bo-Katan's friend, like her.
I don't think
comrade.
she's a very good actress. The
What-
the Bo-Katan friend, she kind of takes me out of the show due to her acting. I don't think it's very good. I think compared against some of the other people she's with too, I
Yeah.
think it's kind of jarring almost how not good of an actress she is.
Wow.
would you want her removed from the show?
Oh yes, just Razor Crest removal.
Is she like the Rose of the Mandalorian series? Like,
No, I think
It's
Rose
not
was a
that
good actor.
bad.
I think Rose was
It's
a good
not that
actress.
bad,
Just
bad
direction.
writing.
Yeah, that was kind of not a great character, but I think she was fine acting. This, I don't think
Is
the
the
acting
opposite.
was. I mean, she doesn't have much of it. She's kind of like.
But it's
I don't know
like-
if she has any character really.
It's a
but
fine
No.
character. It's not a bad. It's just whatever.
It's. I mean,
but
if I had to
it's-
choose like a nitpick or two, that would be one of mine for the last episode. Was I wasn't crazy about her acting.
What
Gosh,
happened to
you're
the
such
other
a hater, dude.
Mandalorian dude? Like there was 3 of them before.
I guess
like
he
there
died,
was
but-
Bo-Katan and like 2.
yeah, and then a dude. So
He got canceled.
yeah,
Sexually assaulted the other Mandalorian.
Oh my goodness. Well, yeah. I mean, they needed the four powerful women at the end.
Girls
And
get it done.
Yeah,
Girls get it done.
Didn't fit the.
Didn't fit the agenda.
Yep. Well, I'm.
Um,
I wasn't gonna say agenda.
well, agenda's a harsh word. Agenda's a harsh word. I apologize. Agenda's a harsh word. But
Now we're gonna get canceled. Will, thanks
I know.
a lot.
Sorry,
I was making a
I've
joke.
ruined it for everybody. After bringing in Bo-Katan, they basically board this Moff Gideon space cruiser or whatever it's called. And I think the most interesting thing to me, what happens in this kind of middle section right before the end, is Mando beats Moff Gideon in a battle, which means that he owns the Darksaber, which also means that he is the rightful ruler of Mandalore, and that does not make Bo-Katan very happy.
yeah.
That
They
was
didn't do.
angry.
They didn't do much with that though. After they like they made it seem like they were like. I don't know if that's gonna be a season 3.
Oh,
I
guarantee it.
imagine
Yeah,
they're going
it
to have to
will.
play off or build that with something else. But yeah, the tensions I thought were quite high in that. I thought they did a very good job,
Yeah.
especially for someone who doesn't have a lot of understanding of the implications of that, which is myself. Like, I learned a lot just from the little bit of dialogue that was there and kind of Bo-Katan's acting. I thought she did a really good job.
Yeah.
Well, she's more of an actress. That other chick's like a wrestler, right?
She's in what else
wrestler?
has the actress been in? I think it's
She was in Battlestar Galactica.
Yeah, Battlestar
The
Galactica,
season
that's right.
of 24.
The skinny Mandalorian person?
No, the Bo-Katan.
Bo-Katan.
The
On-
other
actress for Bo-Katan.
the other Mandalorian she's just a wrestler, I believe.
Oh, okay. So there were 2 wrestlers. There was the one
Yeah.
wrestler chick, the skinny one, and then the
The-
big one.
the-
Not big, but
The
you know,
dummy thick one.
like strong, very strong.
Yeah.
The sheriff or what's her?
Yeah, the old sheriff of Star Nottingham.
Yeah.
I liked the way they I thought their infiltration of the ship was really cool. How they used Boba Fett to kind of like bait the
Trojan
ships
horse it.
out.
Yeah.
Kind of. And then the how they're all freaking out, thinking like, you know, what's going? Are they actually coming in here? I thought that was really cool. There was so much about that episode. I thought that was
when
probably the best
Mando
episode.
when Mando was fighting the Dark Trooper or whatever,
Yeah.
and it's just punching his face over and over again. I was getting like Game of Thrones flashback. I was like, no.
Pedro,
Like,
no,
no,
Pedro, stop,
not
Pedro.
the dark the dark troopers like robo thumbs come out. You're like, no.
That would have been a great like fake out if they decide like with the, like.
Well,
like
the
a
show's
good
called The
subtle
Mandalorian,
reference.
you know, so like maybe another Mandalorian takes up the mantle. But so I didn't mean to derail your dark
saber talk.
Dark saber talk. But so do you have like more understanding about like what that means or something for us not real true Star Wars fans who don't know?
Well,
Like
I don't
myself.
actually. I didn't actually know much either because I never finished Clone Wars. But from what I can understand, apparently Bo-Katan is really rooted in the idea of that winning the Darksaber over gives you power, and that's the only legitimate ruler. The only way to legitimately rule Mandalore is if you have the power from when you beat somebody with a Darksaber. And I know that the Darksaber was given to her before.
Oh, she had
And
it at one point.
She had it at one point and she lost it. So I'm wondering if she wanted to win it back to try to like salvage her rule that maybe she messed up.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a possible explanation that could lead to a good character arc going forward for her. And so I think the best thing that entire episode does is really set up a great season 3 for The Mandalorian, because I can only see it going one way, and that's Mando taking back Mandalore with the other Mandalorians, because at the beginning of the episode, Mando did agree to reconsider Bo-Katan's offer to help her cause.
Yeah. Well, now he doesn't have Grongu to take care of.
Or Drongu, and this is probably the final one of the final things of the episode was somebody
died.
showed up that I was not expecting, and that's Luke Skywalker. So.
I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah, me neither.
At all.
Well, as soon as like when they showed the X-wing, I was like, wait, is this Luke? I was like, I mean, I guess he's out there, and then he steps out and they show the glove, and I was like, this has to be Luke. Like, who else is it gonna be?
Yeah. And
I
when he
thought it was
hangs
gonna
up
be-
his saber on his belt, I was like, oh.
And then
yeah.
and then there was the green lightsaber, and then until you get the good shot of the actual handle, it's like, okay, like this, like either they're really trying to trick you into thinking someone else, or of course this is Luke, and then of course it was Luke.
It was CG Luke.
I saw someone on Reddit was like before they showed his face, they're like, are they really bringing my boy Kit Fisto back?
I thought it was going to be Mace Windu. I'm going to be honest. So I thought it was Mace Windu because I thought they were going to completely retcon his death, and I thought, especially with Boba Fett, they were going to have some interesting things with Boba Fett. But I was glad I was very wrong.
Did you think that it was Mace Windu before Luke started wielding his lightsaber?
Oh yeah, before. So before the episode
Okay.
started, I'm like, I bet it's Mace Windu. That
That's
was
what
my
you thought,
prediction.
really?
But as soon as that X-wings flew in, I'm like, it's probably Luke now because Luke has his signature X-wing that he flies around.
Yeah.
Well,
because he's too sick with it.
I mean, you were kind of like wondering, like, where has he been this whole time? And I guess I didn't really think of it that much because I kind of always keep forgetting where in the timeline Mandalorian is. I don't know why.
Me
I think
too.
it's separated enough that I guess I'm not thinking about it. I just know that it's like after certain events. So
I thought it was initially like between 3 and 4, like at points, and I was like, wait a minute, I'm really stupid. Like the Empire's fallen. Like this is after 6.
I wish it just makes me sad, like that the new trilogy exists because you know, like
that's...
how much cooler would it be if like we didn't know like all the stupid crap that's gonna happen?
Yeah.
How much more potential would Star Wars have going forward?
Oh my gosh!
If 7, 8, 9 never happened, and we just had that one ending of the Mandalorian where Luke comes in, takes Grogu, and you have no idea what for.
And you have the Thrawn name drop. You have the
you have every
the stuff Moff Gideon's doing. You're like, oh, dude, what are they like? What are they out here like?
You have so much storytelling potential. And then it's all completely ruined when you realize that 7, 8, 9 exists, and that you almost can't ignore how, like, because the scale
it's
of
not a myth.
Of that trilogy.
It's all real. The Jedi are real.
The scale of that trilogy is so big. There's no way the New Galactic Empire, or whatever it's called, the First Order, there's no way that the First Order is ignored throughout the entire galaxy because they made it such a big deal. So everything, it feels like, is going to have to tie back to the First Order, or it's not going to feel authentically in that world.
And they still ruin Luke's character. And
yeah.
Exactly.
Can they just retcon like the new trilogy? How big of a baller
stuff happened? Like
how big of a baller move would that be if like the people at Disney were like, yeah.
I think we say that every week. We throw it out there because we know. I mean, we just need. I mean, we know the execs are listening to the show.
I know
right
people
now,
at Disney that listen to the show.
Hire us. Put all 4 of us in a writer room. See what happens.
Oh, it'll be amazing. It would be.
Luke dies
Twilight.
in the first 10 minutes of the
Oh no. Okay, Landon's out.
Game of Star Wars. Okay, so the final thing that happens back to the episode. So the final thing that happens it's after the credits.
We
didn't even talk about the
Luke comes in, slaughters all the dark troopers like they're like nothing.
Sorry.
Like they're nothing.
I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm getting ahead of myself.
They were all droids because they said that the human inside was the last weakness of the dark trooper. So now, they can actually hit stuff. They're good. And like the Mandalorian had his hands full with just one.
Yeah, and then Luke slaughtered like
now there's like 30
of
of them. And Luke Skywalker just rolls up and he just murders all of them like it was nothing, just to waltz up to the door.
It's like what a power move, like to show that Luke Skywalker is that powerful. I'm sorry, this is gonna come off across as super nerdy, but like it was so cool to just see him. It reminded me of the Rogue One scene, right? There's comparisons all over the internet for a reason. I think it's very it's like son of Anakin Skywalker. It's really what we would like. I feel like I wanted to see
decimating the enemy,
decimating droids.
Yeah,
it's thrown it back to the Clone Wars, just like literally every single other aspect of the show. But I love Luke's appearance in this.
And then
and then the real emotional part.
Ooh, yeah. I'm so glad that you caught me when I tried to skip over this. Anyway, when saying goodbye, because Luke is here for Grogu and
Grogu.
I know. And when Grogu kind of looks at Mando and Luke tells him like he wants your permission.
Ooh.
And I started tearing up at this point. And then what happens is Mando picks Grogu up, and you
think it can't get more emotional,
right? Yeah. And then Grogu puts his hand to the helmet, and then Mando takes his helmet off, and you see.
Oh dang! Oh man!
Yeah.
Adrian Pascal's face.
Just a bunch of men here, dudes being
just guys being dudes.
I cried.
Guys being
dudes.
I was choking
cried.
up.
Like I was just crying, and it was such. I could never have guessed that would get me ever until that final episode, till it actually happened.
Yeah. I mean, I was choking up like before even the helmet came off, and it's like the amount of emotion the actor, like the direction, was able to convey that like it's a dude that you haven't even seen his face that much.
Yeah,
talking to a puppet, and I'm freaking like crying, and then he takes the helmet off, and it's just over. I'm like,
it's made me reconsider my life. No, but Yeah, I started crying, and I didn't stop until the credits finally rolled. And I think that was my favorite episode of the series and season, and probably one of the best episodes of TV I've seen in a long time.
I mean, I would say for like a Star Wars moment, it's like it's a top 5 Star Wars
I'd say
moment.
top 3. Like, what else can top that?
I
As far as emotion, I think it's
it's coarse.
the best. Yeah.
Rough.
I think as far as emotion, that's number 1. Like, there's a couple other cool, like when Vader shows up in Rogue One at the end. Like, that's top.
Yeah, that's a different type. Yeah,
but I think as far as emotion, like that made me feel more emotion in that moment
episode
than any.
3, Obi-Wan has the high ground.
I think
Dude,
that conversation
that
I'd say is
emotional.
probably up there.
Yeah.
You were my brother, Anakin.
Yeah.
For emotional. I would say it's very close, if not rivaling that moment.
And I would say
for emotion.
And I would say even after like seeing Clone Wars, even after only seeing part of Clone Wars, the scene where all the Jedi are dying is actually kind of gets pretty emotional at times.
Yeah.
Because you have all these characters that are expanded upon in this TV series, like especially like Plo Koon in like the earlier episodes, because Plo Koon's
he was the
actually
pilot,
one
right?
It was the pilot, and he's the one who trained Ahsoka too. Not trained, but found Ahsoka. And that kind of connection that you have, he's kind of present more in the Clone Wars than he would be in any of the original movies. Suddenly, like as a kid, it was just seeing all these cool looking Jedi die, and
They
now
die like chumps too.
And they die like
Are you
chumps.
talking about the
but
ones
now,
that come into Darth Sidious's lair?
Oh no, they die like chumps. Almost
one
all
of
of them die like chumps.
Yeah.
So, like,
Kit Fisto is also in, so it's kind of like, oh man, like there goes like a cool Jedi that had really cool backstory and really cool character development in the Clone Wars.
At least he parried like one strike.
Yeah.
Like the other 2 guys didn't even like block at all. They just got cut down. It's like,
You're a
what?
Jedi Knight. How do you get cut down by 2 strikes?
Not only are you a Jedi Knight, like Mace Windu picked you. Like he picked 3 guys to roll with him to there. Like in those, like so, like clearly, like those were like 3 of the best people
It was
to roll
Sith
with him.
mind tricks. He used a mind trick to make
I've
their
read that,
agility drop. I have.
that?
Yeah, I
Like,
think
that's
I've
a-
read
that's
that
a
too.
thing?
I think that's
Like the
That's a
canon,
thing,
like
yeah.
response is that like he has some way to like make them where they can't, like they're not fighting properly or something. Like
it's because what's his name? Ian McDermott. Ian.
yeah, that
that
sounds
his name?
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, they needed some explanation to how this decrepit old man is able to cut down these people.
Then why not Mace Windu? Like, why did Mace Windu last so long and literally
Because
beat
he was
Darth Sidious,
the-
before
his
Anakin screwed that?
His training, he could
because
block
that's
the
what
mind
George
trick.
Lucas wanted.
It's all part of my original vision.
Oh gosh. Okay. Well.
Yeah, that was an intense episode, intense season. Yeah,
One final
that
thing.
ending
Yeah.
was
Fat bib.
that got you.
Fat bib. Yes. One final thing. After credit scene. I hope everybody watched till the end, right?
Oh,
To
yeah.
the very, very end.
Yep.
I almost didn't. Then I saw. I'm like, wait a minute. There's a good chunk of the episode left. There's like 4
Yeah,
minutes
same.
left. And then I was like, oh, okay. Well, I guess I'll keep watching and see what happens. And we get Fat Bib Fortuna in Jabba's palace, which was absolutely hilarious. And not only that, we get to see him slaughtered by Boba Fett.
It's
With
so
ease,
funny.
dude. It was so easy.
When he throws
Like,
it, when he just throws him off the palace chair or whatever, like he throws him off the throne. He just like,
And then Boba Fett sits down with what's her name? I can't
Fennec.
remember. Fennec, yes. Fennec sits at Boba Fett's side, and they announced, I guess, a new series coming next year at the end of December called The Book of Boba Fett.
Warlord Boba Fett. I thought that was so cool.
yeah.
he's just sitting there like menacingly, like
Yeah.
Just sitting there.
I mean, seeing Slave One back. I mean, I loved that. I mean, I've always loved Boba Fett.
when they used the seismic charge or whatever.
Oh, again, yeah, when they brought that
it
back.
brought back
Yeah.
memories. It brought
That's like
back
the great,
memories.
like that's one of the best parts from Attack of the Clones, like just the noise that makes, like where it like silences everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One thing that I thought was weird in the episode is Boba Fett uses Slave One to draw out the TIE fighters.
Mhm. Or to open
And then
the gate thing.
yeah, basically so that they can infiltrate the ship. But he never came back. Like Fennec was with them the whole time, but he never came back.
Well, I mean, that happens later.
It's just kind of implied that they kind of exited
Yeah,
the
like
ship,
I-
or
but I
Boba
just
Fett
thought-
came back.
I thought he would have played like maybe a slighter bigger role, actually on the ship. But I don't know. Maybe
I don't
that's
think
just
he
my
would have been able to get
interpretation.
on board.
It would have been an awkward reunion with Luke. Like, Boba Fett just sitting there. It's like, hey.
Luke would probably kill him, dude. Luke would probably like cut him down, and then he probably would have killed everybody else. Been like, oh, you guys with Boba?
Oh yeah, and then he takes Grogu away, and then Grogu has this growing resentment for Luke,
He killed all
and then
his friends.
Grogu turns to the dark side because he killed Mando. Oh man,
Dude, well, you know Grogu's one of the Knights of Ren, you know, so.
Oh gosh, this is partially what makes me upset too. Is that okay? What's gonna happen to Grogu?
He's gonna get
now?
slaughtered by
like
Ben Solo.
He's gonna get slaughtered by Ben Solo. Like that's what I think might happen.
no.
I mean, that's what makes sense, right? Unless they have like some time in between. Like this is why.
Unless they
this is why
erase
the
the
sequel
sequels?
trilogy. This is why the sequel trilogy is so disappointing, right? Because it's closed so many doors without opening any new ones.
And they were all
Sucks.
bad doors.
Yeah, they're all
doors.
bad doors. Bad doors. Bad Luke doors. Bad Leia doors. Bad Han doors. Bad
Was there a
everything.
single?
Han
They
doors.
did Leia so dirty.
Oh yeah, it
They
was-
did all of
oh,
them dirty.
God.
Like name like a single character that was actually good in the new trilogy of movies.
I think the best character you can argue for is either Kylo Ren, and they still I think did him a little dirty,
Palpatine.
or Rey. And I think both of them don't
Rey
even
was
compare.
stupid.
I think both of them. I would probably.
I was
argue
so mad.
more.
Ray Skywalker.
I think Palpatine would have just won the battle, and then you get a new dark.
Everybody dies. And
Yeah,
we get
everyone dies.
A new,
Palpatine wins. Like
a new empire.
that would have been
great.
subverting expectations.
All of the
Like,
expectations.
yeah.
And Ray says, "Your new empire."
Ugh, yuck.
Yeah,
yucky. It's almost like they maybe like jumped the gun making the new trilogy. You know, like maybe they could have just waited and like set it all up with like these shows first. You know,
But the money. The money, Landon.
we have to recoup our investment.
Disney's definitely an evil corporation.
Harrison Ford
In
isn't
my
getting any younger.
And Carrie Fisher's gonna die in the middle of production of one of the movies, so
Well, yeah, she could have just died before they even started it, and they could have like recast.
never made the.
Yeah.
Oh man,
Uh,
boy.
so many
So-
gripes.
Okay, so with the Boba Fett thing though, like, is that going to be like? I heard a couple different theories. Some people think that's going to be a new show. Some people think it's going to be a new movie, and then some people are like, well, maybe like it's just the first episode of the next season of Mando. It's about Boba Fett.
I personally don't think it's the first episode of Mando. I could see it being a movie or a series. I think there's kind of arguments for each, just because they have so many series already. Why not add one? But also, I could see it kind of being there's not as much potential for a series. I think a good movie I think a movie might suit that situation better that Boba Fett's in. But I definitely don't think it's season 3 of Mandalorian, because I think they have a gold mine on their hands with Mandalorian.
With Pedro
And
Pascal,
with
you mean?
Pedro Pascal and the Mandalorian character, because everybody's
Also,
already
they
super
have
invested
so
in
much.
him.
They have so much to do with the Darksaber, and
Yeah,
so I don't
they
know
have-
if they'd
yeah.
waste, because they're only doing 8 episodes a season. Would they really waste one of like a full episode on Boba Fett?
I don't think so, unless it'll connect back into later. I really think that they're gonna go with Mandalorian season 3. I think they're gonna split off the series into 2 different series: Book of Boba Fett with Fennec and Boba Fett, and then Mando season 3. Mando, Bo-Katan, Ahsoka, etc.
Man, I'm gonna miss Grogu.
Yeah.
Dude, he'll be back.
He was such a fun part of the show.
When does he come back? Like
Yeah,
into
yeah,
season
I would-
3 or?
Yeah, I want Grogu back. Bring Grogu back.
We're starting the riots already.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll be back in the show. I
When
would
do we
think-
get the Grogu spinoff? Like angsty teenage Grogu. He's like 150 years old, you know?
Yeah.
Long after episode 9.
Yeah.
Luke, I don't want to do the dishes.
Man.
Oh,
It was good to see R2. That's
R2
what I
was
was really
classic.
hyped to see.
yeah.
Yeah, there was so much that they packed into that episode that I think it was almost set up for disappointment, but I think they pretty much delivered on everything they had. The CG of Luke wasn't great. I'd say that was the other.
It was phenomenal.
Kind of big gripe I had with it.
I was hoping he wouldn't take the hood off, and then he did, and I was like, ugh.
So I don't know how they did it. I'm not a computer. I'm not a CG guy.
You're a nerd, but you're not that big of a nerd.
I mean, I don't know how they did it, but I think if they would have gone maybe the route of Iron Man in is it Civil War, the beginning of Civil War, where we get really young Robert Downey Jr. You guys remember?
Where it's where it's like a deep fake almost. Where
kind of, but it's Robert Downey Jr. playing himself 20 years younger. I don't know if they couldn't afford Mark Hamill, or if this is what if they did use Mark Hamill. I mean, it was his voice.
They did use Mark Hamill.
I don't know if he did the person capture as well, or if they just didn't try as hard or didn't have as much money as they did for the Iron Man appearance, the Robert Downey Jr. one. But I did think the CG wasn't great on him, and it did kind of take you out a little bit, but which I think is a testament to how big of an impact that the Grogu Mando thing was, because even with kind of the awkward CG, you forget it right away, because you're like, oh man, what's going on here?
Don't take Grogu.
Yeah, no. And, oh man, he took his helmet off. Oh come on. Oh no.
Gotta let me see.
You weren't paying attention to the details because you couldn't see through the tears.
Yeah.
No, I'm a man. I don't cry. I'm a man. Anyway, do you have anything else to talk about, Will?
Oh gosh, Dave, keep it together, please, for the show at least.
Dave,
one more
5
thing
minutes. Come on.
that I have. So last week we talked about a certain video game called Cyberpunk 2077 and the numerous failures that
they fixed everything, right?
They
released patches that made everything better with the game, and everyone
totally, and it totally
the versions.
And it totally didn't get pulled from the PlayStation Store because it doesn't run properly, and it totally is not, and totally is not Sony's not accepting refunds, and every single retailer is also not. No, just kidding. Pretty much every single major retailer is accepting refunds for the game, and Sony is also accepting refunds, and there's also been quite a few fiascos within the game itself.
Did for Sony pulling the game, did they pull it also on PS5?
No.
Yes.
Yes.
You cannot buy the game digitally.
Yep.
Oh, really?
So in order to play it on PlayStation, you have to buy it from a retailer. You have to buy a physical copy. Yep.
I am
Are
putting
they easy to find, or are they hard to find right now?
They're probably pretty easy to find, I would guess.
It sounds like all of them are back on the shelves.
That's
if you have a digital, if you have the discless PS5, there's no way for you to play Cyberpunk if you don't own it.
That's pretty sad. I just realized that. Oh gosh. So quite a few developments, and it's been interesting to watch CD Projekt Red, which is the company that makes Cyberpunk, have a complete internal meltdown. So CD Projekt Red has been interviewing employees on kind of the process of the game, the launch of the game, and one of the employees asked upper management of CD Projekt Red if they liked making a game that was about evil corporations in which they themselves applied crunch, which is it's like putting extra days a week, extra insane hours to get a video game out, putting crunch and being hypocritical. So basically their employees are starting to call out upper management for kind of the hypocrisy in which they're trying to make a game that criticizes big corporations while being a big corporation that is indulging in the same things they're criticizing. And the saga's not over yet. There's still a ton of things that are happening that, like just this morning or late last night, Cyberpunk, the game, it will cap your save file if you go over 8 megabytes. So it'll completely corrupt your save file, which is quite unfortunate.
Could you imagine putting 150, 200 hours into your game and then it's corrupts?
And it's happening because players are having too much, are doing
Fun.
too much in their game. So you'll get to a point where you're using so much memory on your save file or you're doing so many quests, you're getting so many weapons, you're crafting so many things that it'll lock you out of your game. It's punishing you for 100%ing the game.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. They should.
It's really tough because I like CD Projekt Red a lot. I really like their last game they made, but they really should have
royally screwed up.
Well, they should have. It seems like they should have canceled the the PS4 and Xbox version, like the base Xbox version of the game. It seems like they probably should have canceled that like a year and a half ago. And people would have been mad then, but I think people would have gotten over it with time.
Yeah, of course.
Because that's like one of those things, like that's happened before with games where they're announced for a console and then they get bumped to the next generation.
Yeah, that's normal. That's normal.
So they could have done that, and then they could have spent more time optimizing the game for PS5 and PC, because it's worth noting like the PC version is still pretty broken too, right?
Yes. So
with the save file thing you said.
Yeah, with the save file thing is corrupt. I still get a bug every 30 minutes, pretty much. I walked into this person kind of floating in the air, T-posing on a chair, and I was like, "Wow, that's a great pose to hold for over a minute." A couple of the others, random NPC spawned in my vehicle just randomly, and I was like, "Oh, okay. I guess you're riding with me now." So it's.
Have you gotten any farther in the story since last week?
Yes. So the story and the side quests are actually getting better.
Okay, that's good.
A little more impressed with the writing. I can't wait to tell you. I'm not gonna say anything, but I can't wait to tell you about a side quest that I stumbled upon.
Oh, cool.
The thing that I'll say still though is that it's disappointing that all the major side quests that are worth anything feel like they come to you. So
instead of you seeking them out.
Instead of you seeking them
or
out,
stumbling upon them,
you'll always get a call. You'll get like a reference from another person when you're talking to them already for another mission, and it really breaks that immersion of you being in a city. Right, so when you're in a city, you would expect to come across something unexpected every once in a while, right? And that happens, but only when the game wants it to happen.
Got it.
That kind of takes the fun out of. That's basically what you're saying. Is it takes the fun out of kind of the experience of exploring and finding those kind of hidden side quests and like the chains and the forks that those kind of reveal in those type of games.
I have never in my past 20 hours gone out and searched for a side quest. Never. Because I did it for the first 15 hours and I was getting the same basic quests over and over again, where you go break into somewhere, press a button and leave. So it's quite unfortunate. I think the problems of the game run deeper, and like I said this last week, but I'm looking forward to them actually fixing the game so that they can get to fixing other parts of the game that do need fixing.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes perfect sense. I mean, they got to triage. They got to fix the bad problems first, like the save file thing and the game-breaking bugs, so that they can get to kind of fixing the blandness of the game, I guess, if they're going to approach that, which, I mean, there's been enough backlash that hopefully
Sounds
they
like
will.
They probably should.
Yeah, and I remember having a conversation with Landon where Landon was like, "Oh, their stocks dropped like 30% or something like that," and I'm like, "Oh, I think that's normal after a big release," and then they just kept dropping. So I think we're past to the point where it's not normal, in which they're losing some money from this whole fiasco. The investors are getting a little less confident with their company.
Well, they already made back all the production costs, and they have the game.
Yeah, but I think their state of the company is also a large concern for a lot of people, and I think this goes beyond just a cool video game flopped. For me, it kind of when I look at this, it kind of shows how a lot of the industry itself needs to change, with how review codes are handled, with how review what you do to reveal a game, what you do to promote a game, and how you go about create a game. I think because CD Projekt Red unveiled the game basically before it was even in development, right?
They announced it before the PS4 even came out, I believe. So.
Right, it's been in development for 7 plus years, maybe even 8.
Yeah.
If they started development before it.
Well, I don't know how much. I mean, a lot of that time they were mostly probably predominantly working on The Witcher 3. But, I mean, I think they probably either have multiple teams or people were slightly working on Cyberpunk. It just seems like they handled a lot of it really poorly with I'm not against the crunch or like having to work overtime down the stretch, but
Landon is pro overtime because, if no one respects workers less, it's Landon.
No. I'm just saying.
I'm saying overtime as well.
No, I'm saying that
Landon's like, if teachers could work overtime, all I'm saying,
unpaid overtime.
But I mean, they were all compensated for their overtime, and I don't think they were working like 80-hour weeks or anything. They were working probably 50 to 60 hours on the overtime. But I mean, it's one thing if they, had 3 weeks or 4 weeks of that, and then the game came out and was smooth and was like, yep, we just needed that extra little bit of time to, polish it and make it working. But the fact that they delayed it multiple times, crunched for it, and then the game came out still completely broken, it's like, well, we could have just delayed this another 6 months, and then they probably wouldn't have had to work over, 50-hour weeks. They probably could have just worked normal hours and delayed it until it was ready. Because it sounds like most of the stuff, it sounds like the core game, like the actual like content of the game and the way it works is all there, but it's just broken, like with bugs.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that's kind of what Will is talking about, like indicative of how the industry needs some overhaul with that, because they're trying to hit these goals that they need to make to satisfy investors, satisfy shareholders and stuff like that, which is unfortunate. And the people who suffer are the consumers and the people who work for those companies.
Yeah, because I feel bad for the developers too, because they've put in their hearts and into
this was their life
so
for the past 5 years probably. This was their their baby almost.
And they probably weren't like, this thing is ready to release. Let's push this thing out. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, totally. Like I totally agree with you, and I think there's quite a difference between the upper management of CD Projekt Red and the actual developers that worked on the game, and I think that shows with the finished product.
Well, I would say it's probably not even the upper management of CD Projekt Red. I think it's probably people who own the company, unless that's what you meant by.
It's kind of what I meant.
Okay.
Like, obviously not.
Because upper management in
producer,
developers are still very they want their product to be as good as possible, and the people who kind of are the ones that are pushing for things to be released are the shareholders, are the boards, are things like that. They're like, we need a return on our investment now.
That's what I was trying to say.
Just wanted to clarify.
No. I'm not saying that the producers and the executive producers of the game are like, we gotta get it out now, guys. We gotta get it out now. No, I'm talking about like investors, people who own the company, people who are disconnected enough from the actual making
from the creative
prospect that all they see are money signs,
dollar bills.
Yeah.
All they see from it are dollar bills. Yeah.
What do you guys think? How does this compare to like other bad launches? Because it feels, I'm trying to think like of other games that launched disastrously. Like No Man's Sky was really bad. Had a lot of bad criticism.
There's like Duke Nukem,
Fallout 76, Anthem.
I think this one's different because I think maybe it's just because of there was kind of a higher quality that was expected. I mean, something like No Man's Sky was I think that had potential because of it was supposed to be so different, and the claims that were being made I think were very vast. But like as for gameplay and stuff, that wasn't supposed to be like crazy groundbreaking or anything.
And that was a small team.
Yeah,
it's a wild card studio. It's a wild card studio.
I think that was not. I think that was kind of based more off of like not meeting certain promises that were made. Things like Anthem, I think it was just I don't think anyone wanted a game like Anthem.
No, and I think it was easier like with Anthem and Fallout 76. I felt like we could tell. You could kind of tell before the game came out like, this isn't.
Yeah, I mean there was outliers who were like really excited for the game. I mean, I was excited for Fallout 76. But I was not expecting a CD Projekt Red caliber of a game. I wasn't expecting something, as good as Blood and Wine. like Witcher 3 DLC or something like that. Where I think people with this game, because it was the same studio, because the quality of the story that was in the last game and in those two DLCs, is it Heart of Stone, Heart and Stone?
Yeah, Heart of Stone and Blood and
Wine. That has one of the best. I would say it's probably the best DLC story I've ever played, and it's one of the better video game stories, and it's a DLC for a game that is on the PS Store every other week for like $2 or something.
Yeah,
and it's and that story is I don't think you've played that yet, Landon, but
I have not. No,
both of the DLC is super good. The Blood and Wine is basically a whole new game. It's like 30 hours of gameplay or more, and then Heart of Stone, I think that's what it's called. I hope that's what it's called. Has excellent story, excellent narrative, excellent characters. Will, I think you would love that DLC for the story.
I'm planning to play The Witcher, or continue The Witcher 3 after I'm done with Cyberpunk.
And I think that's why this is a little unprecedented. because that expectation for quality was higher than those other games.
Yeah.
I think especially because CD Projekt Red shot themselves in the foot. They from what they've been saying, like, we'll release the game when it's ready. We expect a certain level of quality. They make these PR statements that carry some, unbeknownst to them, or maybe beknownst to them, carry so much weight with them because of their past titles. And people expected, when they said, we're going to wait till it's ready, a relatively bug-free experience because of how many delays that went on.
Yeah.
Can we imagine what the game would have been like if they would have met that original release? What would that have been?
Oh my gosh.
Just like
So I think I have a couple more thoughts, like questions kind of. Do you think, and I think, all the blame rests on CD Projekt Red for releasing it, but do you think there's something to be said about, I don't think any of us in particular are guilty of this, but like the people that get mad at delays, like there's a lot of people that were mad every time the game was delayed and were clamoring for it to come out.
I'm fine with delays.
But
I think I'm fine with delays too, because it's there's an overused quote by Shigeru Miyamoto. I think it's like a delayed game is maybe good, but a unreleased broken mess is forever bad, or something like that people throw around literally every single thread that when a game is delayed. But I think I would partly blame the fans for getting mad, but I also think that's a minority also. So I think that not a majority of people are upset that it's delayed. I think there are people that are disappointed but that were willing to wait. And I think that was a vast majority of people, and I think the blame kind of 99%, I'll say, falls on CD Projekt Red. And to clarify, upper management CD Projekt Red, as in investors, owners, blah blah blah.
Yeah. And I think I bought the game on PS4, and I didn't think it was going to be the quality of PC, but like when it came out, like I bought it fully expecting the game to work, so it's disappointing.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
and now
you definitely won't be touching the game for a while.
No, I was thinking
are
though,
you going to return it?
I've been going back and forth. I don't think I'm going to. Maybe this is like not doing the right thing. Like, I don't know. I really like CD Projekt Red. I'm gonna play the game. I think you get the free upgrade to the PS5 version when it natively launches. So I'll be buying the game anyway for $60. And I'm like, I think I'm just gonna hang on to it and maybe show support to the people that made it.
If you're gonna play it at some point, maybe.
So
may as well.
But it's too bad that it's launched in this, because it's if they would have just delayed it maybe 6 months, it would have just been great.
It would have been.
We wouldn't even be talking about this.
I would probably say it needs another year, actually, from what I've played.
Oh man.
Yeah. So especially if you consider all the stuff that I have problems with, but that's obvious. I'm obviously not in the majority. I'm in like a slight minority that actually has problems with the base game design. But I would agree that even 6 months would completely overhaul the game and lead to great expansion packs. That's where I think Cyberpunk is going to shine, in the expansion packs. And I want to put forward that I think it's still a good game. It's just your cookie cutter, pretty much open world game with plus a little extra sprinkles, that those you can see the sprinkles of greatness in the game. It's just frustrating that those aren't covering the whole cookie,
Yeah, I want my greatness. Yeah, I want great frosting. I don't want great sprinkles.
Exactly. How much better is frosting than sprinkles? Can we all agree?
They both
on
kind of suck.
probably
I don't like
10
either
times
one on
better.
cookies, but whatever.
All right. Well, Dave.
No, but at the end of the day, sprinkles, they don't bring much except for looks.
Exactly. There's no flavor to sprinkles. There's just there's flavor.
It's
Crunch,
just-
They're
crunch
just
to it.
chalky. They're just a chalky mess.
They're just a chalky chocolate mess, depending on which sprinkles you get. It's terrible. Not
Chalky
impressed.
chocolate
Landon
mess.
likes chalky messes, I guess.
I like a good chocolate chip cookie.
Chocolate chip is
Okay.
where it's at. That's
Yeah.
my favorite.
Or an oatmeal chocolate chip. Good
I like
too.
I like
chocolate
sugar-
chip cookie
yes.
is where
A
it's
peanut
at.
butter. How about peanut butter chocolate chip?
I like peanut butter chocolate chips.
Sugar.
Yeah, they're
Anybody
good, but
sugar
I have to be in the
cookies,
mood for
anybody?
that.
Sugar
Sugar
cookie.
cookies are dope.
Yeah.
No, they're
Yeah,
dope.
dude, the right sugar
Yeah.
cookies are dope.
You have to
I
have
will
the right
agree with
ones,
Colby
though.
on that one. Oh,
You know what
obvi-
cookies suck though?
It's hit or miss.
Snickerdoodles.
I would probably agree with
I
that.
hate snickerdoodles.
Yeah, they're not the
They're trash.
greatest.
I mean, I'd probably eat it over, anything else.
Like a carrot.
Yeah. Well, no, I like
Carrots
carrots.
suck. Dude, well,
I like
yeah,
carrots. I'm not
carrots are
a
good.
freak, Landon.
Carrots are
Yeah.
stupid.
Dave,
Carrots
Dave's,
are dumb.
Dave's,
We're not
Da-
children.
Dave's a veggie nerd, so don't listen to him.
Oh yeah, Will and Landon both don't like carrots. But Colby, you like
lied
carrots,
to me
right?
about carrots.
Yeah, dude, because carrots are sweet.
Carrots are
No,
sweet.
they're not.
Good.
They're not. That's a
No,
load
they're
of
not.
crap. That's such a
No,
load of
No,
crap.
no, they are. They are.
Absolutely
They
not.
You guys are children. I think you guys are children.
Yeah, I do too.
I cannot believe you're calling like everybody but Colby a child.
I
Like,
mean,
yeah.
this is
Like,
this
the
is like
reverse.
the exception for
I eat my
Colby.
carrots.
This is the least childish thing about Colby is him liking carrots.
I am a man.
I'm a man. I eat my carrots every
I
day.
can see
Colby
so
did
much.
shave
Notice
every
how
3
I'm the
weeks.
only one here. Have you guys noticed that I'm not wearing glasses? It's because I eat my carrots. It's not a myth.
What?
That's real.
Okay.
Dave eats carrots though, and he has glasses on, so like, you're stupid.
No,
You do know that's a myth, right, Colby? Just wanted to.
I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Whew, just checking.
Does he though?
Yeah, dude. Yeah. No, I know.
Okay.
He's eyeing the bag of carrots right next to him.
To
Yeah,
kind of
like-
transition off of Cyberpunk, just since we've talked
carrots.
about this a lot over the past few weeks, I finally watched Tenet.
Oh yeah.
I
no
watched
spoilers.
it. I watched it on a 40-inch hotel TV with subtitles taking up probably a third of the screen.
Michael is weeping.
Yeah.
He's dead somewhere in the world. Just like killed by Landon. Like watching Tenet in the worst way possible.
Yeah. I know Colby and Will still haven't seen it, but if you guys don't mind, I was going to offer some like brief, like non-spoilerly.
Will hadn't
spoilery
seen it yet?
thought- No, Will has not seen it.
Dang.
It's. You know what, Landon? If you want to spoil the movie for me, just do it. Just
No,
do
I'm
it.
not. I
no,
just
no,
I
no,
can't
no,
stop.
no,
You can
no,
do
I-
it, dude.
I-
You know what?
I mean, Landon, would
ruin
you
it.
agree
Ruin the
it's a hard
holidays.
movie to spoil?
Yeah, it's a hard. Yeah, you can't really spoil it.
It was the butler.
It's about time.
Who could have guessed?
I liked the movie a lot, but I did like I do have like some minor gripes with it. Like
What kind of gripes you got?
so I felt like the movie. I think Dave might have already said this too. The movie, like the pacing, it's like a breakneck pace for the entire film. There's no time to like.
There's no
really-
room to breathe, really.
There's no room to breathe or like deal with anything that's going on. I really liked all the characters, but at the same time, I'm like, I didn't feel like any of them in particular had much time to get fleshed out.
Yeah, I feel like you don't know them very well.
Yeah, but I liked all of them. I especially what's the protagonist?
The protagonist.
Yes, and then Robert Pattinson's character was really cool, and same with the lead female character. I can't remember her actress's name, but all 3 of them were really cool.
I like Kenneth Branagh too. I mean, I thought he's a good actor. And I don't know if I've seen him much as a villain, so I thought he was kind of a cool villain.
The way the movie was shot, like, and this isn't spoiler, but like some of the time stuff that happens.
Are you talking
is
about like at
real-
the halfway point when you get there and you're like,
Yeah. Like I
like-
kind of
you're
somewhat
like,
like half
whoa.
predicted everything that was going to happen, but like the way it's shot and the way it plays out is so cool. Like the way it's like just it's almost creepy. Some of it's almost creepy watching it go.
I mean, the premise there is like really great, kind of like
Yeah.
that. The idea of what
What they're doing.
how time works in the movie, I think, is great.
I'm a moron, but like I still don't quite get all of it. I would like to talk to someone spoiler wise, but like I kind of, you know what I mean? Like I half get it. I'm like, oh, I get what's happening, but at the same time, I'm like, I don't quite get it.
Yeah, I think trying to piece together the logistics of how things were working, and like if someone were to describe like the what happened in a given scene, you would have a hard time trying to explain some of the certain things because it's a little hard to comprehend. Like, wait, are they this or are they that? I mean, like,
Are they actually? Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
you know
hard
what
to,
I mean?
like, yeah. But I liked it a lot. I couldn't help but feeling I'm like I kind of wish this was like a 6 or 8 part miniseries on like.
I think
HBO
that would
or
be really.
something,
I
though.
think that
Like,
almost would have been better. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that would be better too, because I think there was enough to the concept, to that to the hook, that it's like
Yeah.
I think they could have fleshed that out a little bit more and used it, because the way that it's used in the movie is fairly like the actual overarching plot, which is kind of what I was saying to Will, is that I think it's hard to spoil the movie, is that it's fairly simple. It's all the mechanics of the kind of how time works that is the confusing thing. And I think if you take those mechanics and apply them to something like a miniseries that has more of an in-depth kind of story, I think that would have been more interesting.
Yeah,
'Cause
and they would have more time to flesh out the characters.
Yeah, because essentially it's just like a saving the world movie that has like really weird, trippy time stuff going on. And I think it builds a cool world that I wish could have been that you experience a little bit more than you do in the movie. But the set point piece halfway through the movie that part's awesome, and then the final 20 minutes, that set piece as all that's going down. Well, the thing I won't talk a lot about it, but in the middle of the movie there is something that happens that kind of you realize how things are working, and it's a really cool moment because you kind of realize what's going to happen for the next half of the movie, and how things are now progressing. And that moment, I think, is the best part of the movie, is that middle point where you get that realization and you as the viewer like start to understand how things are working. Because the first half of the movie, you are a very confused person. At least I was. I think maybe Landon, you would agree that.
Yeah, I was pretty confused. Like there was like certain things I was picking up on, and then I was super confused. Or I think we're talking. I'm gonna be really vague. Like you're talking about that point where it flips, where they're in the. I guess I'm just
the window. The window.
Yeah. The window. Yeah, like that. Like I was so confused as that was happening. Like especially with the subtitles on. The subtitles almost made it more confusing.
Yeah.
Watching the subtitles, I'm like, wait, what? I'm like, am I going deaf? Like, am I having an aneurysm right now? Like.
Do you wish? Okay, so now that you watched the movie, do you wish you would have seen it in theaters, or is it like you're like, I got to see it?
I think I was fine because I needed subtitles for a lot of it. I felt like the audio was still kind of hard to understand a lot of what they were saying. Unfortunately, the way the subtitles worked on the smaller TV, they took up quite a bit of
Oh, they really
room.
did?
Yeah. So, but I don't really care for I don't need the theater experience to make it. I mean, there's some set pieces, but I mean,
you are killing this industry single-handed.
No,
COVID.
COVID.
How dare you?
I do want to watch the movie again. I'm glad I bought it because I think it will be a movie that I want to watch at least one or two more times.
Yeah, you could watch it with the boys when you're back.
Yeah, dude.
I'm gonna watch it with my family. I'm
Next
gonna watch it with
weekend?
my
Oh
mom and
my
dad.
gosh.
That would be. Oh god.
I texted my dad. I'm like, hey, we should really watch this movie. I'm like, I think you and my two sisters would really like it. And then I sent another text. I'm like, Mom would probably be confused. I'm like, but she might still like it. If I watched it with her, I had to say I'm like, you can't ask any questions.
If you watch it with her, can you take notes during it so that you have good podcast material for the week after?
Of what she says.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, I would
gonna
want to
say
hear
something,
Songs
but
are so appropriate.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
I hope
glad you
she
finally got
asks-
to see it.
I hope she
Yeah.
asked just one question: is it about time?
Is it about time?
All right. Well, we are almost out of time for the day. Is there anything else you guys want to discuss before we head out?
I watched more movies.
I don't think so.
What? Wait. Oh, yeah. There was one other movie. You want to talk about that one?
I watched. I'll just say the two of them, and I think I know which one you wanted to talk about. But I watched an older movie, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and then Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler, the spiritual successor to Grown Ups.
Grown Ups. Wait, was there
Yeah,
Grown Ups 3?
It's Grown Ups 3.
Grown Ups 3.
Yeah. It gets grim.
Oh, yeah. Before we move on that one, though, I do want to touch on Eternal Sunshine. That was like a kind of another trippy movie that had Jim Carrey in it. That was one of his kind of more like dramatic
Serious?
roles. And that movie is really good.
That movie's really sad.
It's really sad. It's really depressing. It kind of has some hopeful elements in it. It's kind of about this harrowing relationship, but it's trippy. It's not kind of like a run of the mill rom-com.
Yeah, it's not dopey. It's not. It's
I
more
wouldn't
real.
even say
it feels
it's a rom-com. It's
no.
like
There's nothing.
rom-drom.
There's some funny scenes, but not. There's some really really heartfelt moments in that movie. Like I want to watch it again. It was like I watched it after the last episode of Mando. I wanted to keep feeling sad, so I watched that movie. So
it is a movie that does serve a second viewing because of all those like kind of the twists and stuff and the reveals that you get.
I want to watch especially. I just want to watch the opening 15 minutes again.
That's a good movie.
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So the real movie you wanted to talk about was
Uncut Gems. I've been meaning to watch that for a long time. That movie is. You've seen it, right, Dave? And
yeah, that movie is
just
bonkers.
Yeah, that movie. Like I was so tense. Like during like the entire, it's like a 2-hour movie, and like basically the whole entire movie you're just sitting like leaning forward.
Yeah, like, my heart rate watching that movie, it was probably above 90 or 100 the whole time. It is really stressful. I think Adam Sandler though did an excellent job. He's immersed in that role, and you're not seeing Adam Sandler. You're seeing this crazy guy who is, you know, he runs this jewelry shop in New York in the Diamond District, and he has this bad gambling problem, and he's trying to just make
he's trying like he's on like he's down on his luck, he's in debt to people, and he has a way to get the money like to pay off all his debt, but then he just can't resist the urge to double down and like be like, all right, well I can take this money, I can flip it, I can pay off everything and then still have a bunch of money and be rich. And it just keeps going further and further and further, and then the tension. I've never been more tense like watching like a basketball game play out in a movie. And it's not even a sports movie really, but like you're watching it and you're like, oh my gosh, like you're like, it's just your
like
heart
rebound, come on, another rebound,
like,
please.
come on, another rebound, and you're watching like, oh, it's just an like you said, Adam Sandler just kills the role. Like it's insane to watch someone that's, I mean, he's pretty much mocked. You know?
Yeah, universally, well, especially in movies that he's done in the last like 20 years.
Yeah, he's kind of known as a sellout, and like.
So when he does something like this,
what are you talking about? Jack and Jill is great.
Stop. Please stop.
Was he nominated for an Oscar for that?
No, he didn't. I don't think
there was a huge like
controversy or whatever.
Because he got, a lot of people thought he got snuffed for.
I would say
this was a snuff. I would absolutely say it was a snuff.
Yeah, he gave it his all.
Was it nominated for anything?
Nominated for nothing, I think.
My goodness.
Like absolutely nothing.
The script was really good.
You always get those movies that feel like they should
get some
win
better recognition, and then they
get nothing.
Well, I mean, kind of what Landon was talking about the stress of the movie is it reminded me a lot of Breaking Bad in certain elements, about like the things need to go a certain way, and it just takes one misstep for something to go horribly wrong, and one bad step leads to another bad step, and that's kind of what this movie reminded me a lot of Breaking Bad in that sense of like things were really close to working out, and then the one bad thing that could have gone wrong went wrong because this character made some poor decisions, and so
much of it's outside of his realm of control too. Like it's little things like, I need to get this diamond back from this guy, and the guy, like, he can't get a hold of the person. He's trying to find him, and he's trying to go. You know, it's just
the basketball player's lackey.
Yeah,
like you just want it.
He just screwed him over. Like
he just screwed him over, and he's someone that you know people like him in real life, and like you're like, gosh, I just want to strangle this guy because it brings back visceral memories of other people that do things like this. So like there was a lot of just real characters in that movie that I thought was. It was a great film. It was really stressful though. Like
you are rooting for Adam Sandler's character.
Yeah, you are. I mean,
he's kind of a degenerate a little bit, but like he's trying to, like, he's so close. Like you can sympathize with the fact of being him. He's so close to making this happen.
He was genuine. He was genuine. He knew what he wanted. You know, he was a little schlubby. But he was fun to watch.
Bad father, bad husband.
Yeah, pretty much. But great picks for his parlays.
Oh, dude, great. Yeah, great parlays, man. I can always respect a man that makes a good bet.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm probably really lucky that sports betting's illegal in Washington. So.
Oh, yeah. Like,
because I'm not a cards man, I'm not a slots man, but I could totally get down with sports gambling, like nobody's business. And that's why I can't.
We need to keep that.
I can't touch it.
That filth out of Washington, then.
You know where it's not illegal, Landon?
Montana.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway, but you guys should watch it, Colby and Will. You should check out.
It's on Netflix.
You should check out both movies. Actually,
it is on Netflix.
Yeah, I mean, Colby, I know you like getting depressed every once in a while, so Eternal Sunshine, The Spotless Mind.
It's that season too.
You know, and if you really want to supplement your blood pressure, then Uncut Gems will help you out there. So
watching Uncut Gems is like just normal blood pressure for Colby. Like,
I've got normal blood pressure.
No, you don't.
Yeah,
That's a lie. That's a lie. Your doctor was like, "Oh wow, your blood pressure's high. Take this home and like monitor it." And you're
Landon,
like,
are you disclosing Colby's personal health?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, dude. Are you violating HIPAA right now? Are you violating HIPAA right now?
I'm gonna cancel Landon. Let's see, where's this?
Landon should have been canceled a long time ago.
Cancel me, but at least I'm not gonna die of high blood pressure.
Oof.
I don't know. You might.
That's true, actually.
I'm healthy.
Landon likes to talk a big game and say he's healthy, but would you guys go as far as to say he's? I don't want to say one of like the most unhealthy people you know, but in a sense, like
We know a lot of really unhealthy people.
I just feel like Landon's all talk. Like he's not.
When I think
healthy.
peak health, I think Gunslinger Landon. I mean,
Hell yeah.
anyone else? You know,
Gunslinger
call back to
Landon's
last
not
week.
real.
What would you? I mean, I think if we were to rank by like physical health out of our friend group of like 10 people, I would have to say I'm probably in the top
The top 8?
the top
Probably in the
3.
top
I would
10.
think I'd top 3. I would say the healthiest people in our group. I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and say it's Dave, me, and Will. I don't. I'm
Oh
not gonna,
man, peak health right there.
I would probably agree
and,
with that.
and I'm not gonna lie. I think Colby would probably be number 4. Like,
I feel like
maybe.
number one, but whatever.
If Colby ate like less sugar, then I think he could.
It
He could
wouldn't
really...
be fair. It wouldn't be fair, and that's why.
Shut up, Colby.
When
have you ever
Things
cared
are fair
about
right
fair?
now? Things are fair right now.
What if Colby
All right.
starts eating celery and it's like it's a game changer for him? He's like,
He gets
Dude,
ripped.
no, I'd never.
He eats celery and like raw, like raw
Imagine
steak.
Landon eats like lettuce on a burger. Like imagine.
I
that
eat lettuce on a
happens.
burger.
When did this start?
Past few months I've had lettuce and pickles.
Oh, dude, past few months. Wow.
number one healthy, Landon Browning.
Yeah. So now I'll have lettuce, pickles. Sometimes I like onions if they're like the little onion straws that are breaded. I like those.
So not the healthy onions.
Yeah, not the healthy onions.
The
So,
worst
As
kind
long as
of
they're
onions
breaded
for you.
and fried.
yeah, I like onion rings.
Onion straw.
But not the onion part. I just like the.
You take the onion part out and just take
Yeah, I bite into it and I
Yeah.
I pull the onion part out, spit it out, and then just eat the breading dunked in like ranch or fry sauce.
Fit Landon, everybody. Fit Landon.
Yep, fit Landon. There you go.
Yeah, fit Landon. I'm slipping a little bit in Montana. It's been a rough week. I've kind of, yeah.
Well, it is the most wonderful time of the year. Question mark?
Dun, 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 dun.
We
It's
wish
the
you
most
Merry
wonderful time.
All right. And with that, is there anything else that you guys
I
wanna
actually
talk about
watched a
before I
couple
close
more
this?
movies
Oh,
too.
no.
I'm just kidding.
Movies.
No, I'm good.
I watched
okay.
the Clone Wars movie,
Oh my gosh. Okay. Well,
which was terrible.
that's our show for today. So, thank you for watching, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Well, thank you for listening. Because if you're
Oh,
watching
right.
this, I don't know
Yeah.
how. But
Thanks
thanks.
for the cat. Thank you for listening, everybody.
Yay! We did it! Yay!
Tripping at the finish line. Gosh, freaking dang it.
Yay! It's the most wonderful.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Hotkeys podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, Castbox, YouTube, and other podcasting platforms. Visit our website, www.hotkeyspodcast.com. Follow us on Twitter at Hotkeys Podcast and join our Facebook group at facebook.com/HKHotkeys. Please like and review us and subscribe to the show on whichever platforms you use. Finally, you can contact us via email at hosts@hotkeyspodcast.com.